Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. The last time we caught up with Ben McCollum, he was on his way to the NCAA tournament, coaching Drake. Since then, a lot of things have happened.
A lot of changes. A lot of changes.
And he joins us now. Are you in Iowa City or are you in Des Moines? Have you made the full move yet? Where are you at, Coach?
Right now, I'm in Des Moines. I have to go to an iClub event tonight in Carroll, Iowa. So came back for a little bit, and then I'll go to that, and then I'll drive back to Iowa City after that.
How has this transition been different than previous ones?
Previous one.
Previous one. Okay, good point. Good point. Yeah.
This one happened 9 months afterwards. So,
okay.
It's been good. I think that obviously I didn't see this coming. When we initially took over Drake, I mean, we just moved into our house in October in Des Moines. And so, we didn't see this coming at all. And then we built it for the long term. We built it with tough kids, and obviously tough kids win, and then you win. And a few jobs had come calling, but they weren't necessarily anything that I was going to leave Drake for. And then obviously one in an hour 45 away, hour and a half away, just made sense. So it's been good though. We went through it once, and so that helps. I think the hardest part is trying to find a house, trying to put your roster together. We did have our staff more in place this time, which was really helpful. And then, after that, making sure that we get our schedule together and do all those things.
Do you have much say in the house, or do you say, honey, you pick the house, I'm going to go build a roster, you pick the house and tell me what the address is?
It's hard to find houses. I'm not going to lie to you. We've had really nice houses. We have a great one in Waukee, and we had a great one in Maryville, and we're pretty picky. So when we moved to Des Moines, we were in an Airbnb for about 3 to 4 months while this one was being finished.
Wow.
So we'll figure it out. I guess it would be her job then at that point. It's brutal, trust me.
Oh man, Ben McCollum joining us on the Rush Radio Show. Of course, you've been building a roster. CBSSports.com, I think 24/7 Sports has your transfer portal class, I think, ranked number 5 in the country. That started with Bennett Sturts, who was the number 3 ranked player in the transfer portal. How hard was it to build a roster? How easy was it to build a roster?
Both. I think it was both. I think the tough part was, obviously we had our Drake kids, so that helps. We had 5 that came with us from Drake, 6 possibly 5 that came with us from Drake, and then then you can sprinkle in the right fits after that. And we wanted to get enough high school kids just to make sure that we develop kids from behind and make them a little bit better. So we did that as well. Now it's just we've got to complete it with probably 1 or 2 more. If we get the right 1 or 2 more, I think we've got a solid team.
What's been the hardest part of these last month?
It's staying present. I think anytime you take over a job, your inability to stay present in what you're doing is very difficult because there's so many things unfinished. And it's just constant, and you just literally live in the chaos where your roster's unfinished, your schedule's unfinished, your staff might be unfinished, you got to hire a strength coach, your family, number one, you don't have a house in Iowa City, you haven't moved them, you haven't picked a school, and so you just are constantly trying to just finish something. And so it's been a year of this. It's been tough to stay present, but
wow.
We're gonna get there. I think this is the benefit of this is I don't think there's a lot that can really lure me away. It is the highest level, and we're excited to take it on.
You bring up a good point. People forget, they see you as the head coach of the University of Iowa, and the expectations go that. But you just brought up, there's real life that happens behind the doors. Right? There's a lot of real life that happens.
Yes. Oh, it's real life. Yeah, it's real life. It's tough, and it's tougher on families probably than anything. I think for my family, just having to move and do all those things, it's been really difficult. But it's kind of what they signed up for, I guess. At this point, I'm not sure that my wife feels that way, but
I think you've nailed it, Coach. It's compounding it with just having done it, right? You were a stalwart, man. You'd had your roots set and then you decided to uproot and come, and now here 9 months later, really, you're kind of going through that same thing. I think that's probably part of what the family's experiencing there is just compounded.
Oh yeah, no, it's tough. I think the roots we had in Maryville were obviously, extremely difficult to leave, and our kids had so many friends, and we have friends here as well. Obviously, it's not as much over time, but you kind of just slowly start to settle back in here, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to leave again, and oh yeah, and this one you're not going to be really able to go into any supermarkets or any restaurants or anywhere without being recognized. And so for me, I understand it. For my wife, we understand it. But for kids, it's a lot more difficult to handle that.
Coach, we were talking earlier about the advent of the general manager. We're seeing it in college football a lot more, seeing it in college basketball. Shaquille O'Neal just named the assistant general manager at Sacramento State. You've got Steph Curry at Davidson. You have a chief of staff in Jesse Shaw, but is he also a general manager? Or are you going to have a general manager? And what does that position actually entail if you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have one. Yes. Basically ours is going to be more recruiting coordinator. We haven't hired it at this point. That's one of the last staff members that I'm going to hire. And basically with that, it's more recruiting coordinator. They'll do some of the agent negotiations. It probably won't be as high level as, like your Dukes of the world or teams like that may have considerable amount of money and are working only with 5 stars. I think for us, we're a little bit unique in that we're still going to develop kids. We do have plenty of NIL. It's not, obviously the most in the country, but we got enough to be very, very competitive. And so, mine will be more, okay, we need to navigate high school. We need to make sure that we're up on how much everybody's getting paid around the country, how much high school kids are getting paid. And now if there's rev share, then it's roster construction. So if we do end up going to a rev share that actually has a cap to it, now you're trying to construct rosters and you're trying to create NIL opportunities, real NIL opportunities for your kids.
Wow. All right. So can we talk about that change in recruiting? And obviously this is a world that's changing by the day, it seems like, Coach. But how different is recruiting in 2025 than it was even last year? And obviously you're talking about a huge level change here also, going from building a roster at Drake to building a roster at Iowa.
It's a lot different. You can build it quicker, but you don't have anybody in there that you had. And so, when we took over at Northwest the first time, it was we did get some high school kids. We got a couple transfers, but it wasn't like there was this massive transfer market. And there wasn't social media at the time. I think it was just coming in. And so
Wow.
how you found transfers was through word of mouth, talking to people. And now it's just like they just pop up on Twitter, or they pop up in the transfer portal, or they get on Facebook or whatever, not Facebook, but whatever these kids look at. And so then you obviously chase them down. You have to talk to their agent. You have to talk to the kid. You have to talk to the parents. And then some kids probably want more promises than what they've used to have because they have more leverage because they can leave whenever they want. So, it's tricky. We still want to do it a little bit our way, where we are recruiting some high school kids and developing them and really doing it with a genuine heart. Obviously, you're still going to have to work in spaces. And honestly, there are some really good agents out there that really do help find kids the right opportunities, the right spots, and it works out great for them.
You mentioned earlier and by the way, he just said we're all old because you laughed at Facebook. We're the old people that still use Facebook.
You still use MySpace, don't you?
I know. I was late to the social media game. I never had a MySpace page ever.
Gotcha.
Never.
True story though, Coach. He does use LinkedIn.
I use LinkedIn all the time.
I can't even figure that out. Somebody tried to get me on there once, and I'd get notifications that I was on, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use this. Like, this is too much.
Me and you both, Coach. Glad to hear it.
I'm telling you, LinkedIn, you don't get a lot of the crap. Okay, it's nice. Just
here comes this. I shouldn't have mentioned it. You're going to get the elevator pitch on LinkedIn.
I'm going to make the elevator pitch for LinkedIn. I forget what I was going to say. I guess what are the holes that you have to fill You just got a big kid out of the Horizon League, 6'9". Do you want more size? How many more do you want to add to the roster, and what specifically are you looking for?
You know, I think I'd like to be picky and figure it out. You know, meaning like you'd like to, okay, I want a big guy, or I want a guard, or I want this. I think the really tricky part about the Big Ten is sometimes you just have to take a player that can play in the Big Ten, like, and then figure out your roster after that, because they literally had one person coming back, and you're trying to recruit Big Ten caliber players in the matter of a month. That's not exactly easy, especially if you're trying to fit specific positions into like, okay, I need this guard. Well, you know, so does Alabama. Like, so so does North Carolina. Like, there's some problems there, right? And so, um, we would just like somebody that can play in the Big Ten. Now, perfect world scenario, do you always want the 7-footer? Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you guys have one of those, let me know. And do you want a point guard? Well, we've got a really good point guard, and we got another one coming with us. So we'll be okay there. But point guards are hard to come by as well. Those two positions are by far and away the hardest to get.
You mentioned revenue share earlier on. The House settlement has not come through yet. We're hoping that that gets approved the next couple of weeks. But what will revenue share look like at Iowa? A lot of people made the assumption it's going to be 90% football and everything else after that. And how much say do you have with Beth Getz and everybody else of what that revenue share will be if there is a cap at $21.5 million?
Yeah, I mean, I probably don't have a ton of say. I think that's Beth's decision and her administrators. And it's our job to do with whatever we get, do a good job with that. I will say, from an administrative support standpoint, it's been exponentially better than what anyone from the outside would think. Obviously it's a football school, and it is, and it's a really good football school. And obviously they have wrestling, women's basketball is phenomenal, baseball is winning the conference, softball's, and so it's like you just go down the list, like every sport is good there for the most part. And so we have to maintain that as well. But they've done nothing but support men's basketball and want it to be successful and want to get back to what it was. And, it's my job to be able to do that.
What's been the best part of these last 5 weeks?
Kind of reinvigorating University of Iowa. It's something that you took a lot of pride in as a kid. Huh. And you go out and I think with Iowa people, it's more like your micro interactions than it is like a major interaction. So obviously you attend certain events, and those are great, and those certainly help. But it's really just walking down the street and taking a picture with somebody, or shaking somebody's hand in the supermarket or whatever it may be. Those are the genuine interactions that probably go a long way for what Iowa is about and what it's meant to be here. And then, hopefully by doing those things, people come back and people show support, and people get to games and really get this thing to another level.
We watched you a couple of weeks ago throughout the first pitch of an Iowa baseball game. We've had Coach Heller on the show just a couple of weeks ago. They're playing great baseball, but you threw a dart, man. I mean, you threw a dart. So I'm
look at the confidence.
Confidence.
I don't disagree. I'm not. There's no disagreement there.
See, that's the competitive spirit. And the first time you were on, you were talking about what a great sport you were growing up, and how nice you were to everybody and everything. Besides basketball, what were your sports in high school? Were you a baseball player? Because that was impressive.
Yeah, I think I was actually better at baseball. I wasn't blessed with the genetics for basketball. I'm 5'11", and I got enough length, but probably not enough to be great. And so, baseball was my sport. And that pitch, I don't know if you saw the gun. I think it was 95 it registered. High spin rate, had a little cut to the outside. The spin rate was phenomenal. They actually got it on the little TrackMan. It had my spin rate and everything. I was considering throwing a breaking ball. I was a little concerned that I'd spike it, but it was outside corner. I mean, it painted the outside corner. So,
And if you
Anyway.
only get one shot, coach, you got to show off the speed. I mean, the
Yeah.
velocity is what's gonna turn the heads. That's a smart move.
No, that impresses people. And, I mean, it's like game 7. And you got to throw that last pitch. You don't want to leave something over the plate. And so that little cut at the I'm surprised the catcher caught it, to be perfectly honest with you. But, he did. Excellent catcher. But next time I'm going to bring a breaking ball.
See, I love this because we all did. Ross has thrown out a first pitch. I've thrown out a first pitch. And when you throw it inside, deep down, you go, yeah, I nailed it. I mean, there is, even though it's just ceremonial, you feel pretty good when you deliver it, don't you?
Yeah. And some of us really nail it and some of us just think it. I think I nailed it. So.
Yeah, I think it, coach. That's
yeah.
Don't show me video of my first pitch. In my mind, it looked like Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. I've seen people throw it over the backstop and stuff like that. And I can see if you haven't pitched or there's a level of nerves, like you kind of get amped. I can see that happening. So I had to warm up to make sure that I actually was fairly accurate with it.
While you're back in town, I know you got to go to Carroll tonight. Willis Automotive, of course, presents this show. We know your car comes from Willis Automotive. Do you take it over for a quick oil change, get it detailed while you're in town?
Yeah, I think they're switching it out. I don't know if this one's nice enough. So, no, it's a joke. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, oh, damn.
Lord. It's as nice as it gets. No, it's
a sweet ride, dude.
Oh, I know. I said, he said, well, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I've drove the same truck until I came to Drake, I drove the same truck for like 12 years. Like I'm as low maintenance as it gets in regards to cars. But I said, recruits want to see really cool screens and they want to see nice leather. And I said, that's all that matters to me. That's really all I care about. And so I show up and there's one in the showroom and I'm just like, okay, so let's go get one of these outside. And he's like, no, that's the one we're going to give you. I'm like, oh, this is more expensive than my first house. I didn't know how to use it. No, it's nice. It's pretty high level. So
does it drive itself? Does it have that self-driving feature?
I would assume so. I haven't tried to use it yet. I'm too nervous, but I'm certainly grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that they put me in something so nice because it's just from a recruiting perspective, it makes all the difference in the world.
So that still makes a difference with recruits. Wow. Like, what's coach's ride?
Well, when you get in and it's so sharp, it sends a message that your program is very detailed and sharp and clean and all those things. And so, it does show some level of prestige and that sort of thing. But there's also a sharpness to it that kids like, I guess. I don't know.
Are you going to the WNBA game on Sunday? You going to be back for the sellout at Carver for that?
I have tickets. Yes, I am going to try to attend. If I can get back, I might actually be in Indianapolis with one of my kids. So we're going to see if we can make it back. But I have tickets.
We were joking about how like Sac State's bringing in Shaquille O'Neal. We just think like the Iowa athletic department should just hire Caitlyn Clark as the assistant GM for like all sports because you just have her make a phone call and that might be the most popular basketball player on the planet right now.
Yeah, she's pretty high level. I mean, she's obviously some of the things that she's navigated from an external standpoint. I don't think she probably even gets enough credit and handled it with elite class. And I see it from obviously a smaller lens than that, just from my own what you deal with on a daily basis and the things that. The interesting part is the things that get written that just are completely and utterly untrue. And you're just like, and you want to just defend like, dude, that's a lie. But somebody printed it and other people believe it and then they run with it. And I can only imagine the stuff that people have written about her and she maintains a level of class, which is probably the most impressive part.
Well, you still got a roster to build, but you got a little time to breathe with the portal closed. Coach, I'm this is a compliment, by the way. It is since the day you took the job, and you've been kind enough to come on here. This is your third time on the show now. Your body language, not that it was bad body language before, but you just seem happy. It was like you could tell it on your face. This is the job you wanted. And I think I think that's contagious. And I think there's a reason Iowa fans are excited. And I can see why recruits would be excited because it generally comes off in your aura about this job.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's one that you kind of have to pinch yourself just because it's not necessarily something that I pursued. Like I never tried to get this job. It was just, I just did the best job in the job that I was in and tried to make that place better because we were there. Like I never once was like, I'm going for this job. I'm going for that job. And, you know, and then it works out the way it's supposed to, because you stay present in the job that you're at. And, that's what we did. That's why we were able to win so many games. And, you know, that's why I'm at University of Iowa now.
Of course, Iowa fans expect 30 wins next year. Just to let you know, 30 wins is the benchmark.
31. Which ones are we going to lose if we only get 30?
Oh, man. No pressure, though. No pressure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the time. And I appreciate you being so honest with us about some of the stuff, man. This is, it's been an interesting couple of weeks for you and the family. You can see that on your face as well. So thank you for giving us time and chatting with us about this stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Have fun in Carroll tonight.
I will.